So my kind of like first thing that I want to go into and kind of show off and talk about, when I did go to PAX East, which was funny. One of the big kind of like huge games that came out the year before was Gloomhaven. So I ran a huge successful Kickstarter, and then came out, and then like a fart in the wind disappeared from stores because it was just so popular, so hyped. Like people that played it were like, "Man, you gotta play this game." Da, 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 if you like dungeon crawls and all that. So at PAX East, what did I get my hands on? Ugh.
It's like Christmas.
But the 25-pound monstrosity of a box that is Gloomhaven.
Holy cow.
Yes, I did say 25 pounds. And yes, when I left PAX East, it did weigh 25 pounds. By the time I got home, it felt like it weighed 50 pounds. Because when you're carrying around a 25-pound box, okay, like this is, I kid you not, this is the box. If there's one thing that I laughed at going home on the train, I'm sitting there with the box in its like shipping boxes. That's literally what these guys had, is like it was a game store that I guess they ordered X amount and they had them there at the show. And they were like, "Yep, we have Gloomhaven. You can purchase it and we'll hold it on, hold it for you until the end of the day so you can take it home. So you don't have to lug around a 25-pound box the whole time you're at PAX." So went in, paid it, put my name on it, went back at the end of the day, picked it up. As I'm traveling home, I'm sitting on the train with the box sitting in between my legs, and you can see on the side it says Gloomhaven Retail. And this guy on the train just like looks down and sees the box and reads it, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna enjoy that game." And I'm like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have it." He's like, "But just so you know, now you're in it for like an extra $80 for the organizer for it, because you're gonna see."
So you need an organizer for this thing.
And let me tell you, the dude wasn't kidding. There is, so one of the neat things, like very, very cool dungeon crawling board game. One of the things that's really neat, and I can understand why people really enjoyed this game, is when you open up the box, you pull out just a thing this thick of just slabs of cardboard that you have to punch out. So like all the different traps, the doors, the things, like the rooms, the whole 9 yards. And then you get to the bottom of the game, and there's about 20 boxes, thin boxes, and then little square boxes that don't have a name on them. They just have a symbol. And as you go through the rule book, and it sits there and tells you, okay, when you're setting up for the first time, you're going to do campaign number 1. And the way that you set this up is you're going to choose from a character from these 6 symbols. And they give you the names of the classes. That's all you know. So they tell you have the Tinker, the Craighart, the Brute, the Scoundrel, the Spellweaver, and I forgot the name of the last one. But that's all you know. So you say, like, cool, I want to be the Spellweaver. That's who I chose. Mage at heart, That's what I like playing at World of Warcraft. So it tells you, okay, pick this box and this little cube. This little small square box. All right, cool. You pick it up. When you open up the thin rectangular box, in it is your character card, the cards that you're going to use in your hand, and then basically like counters for your person, and then the little small square box is literally a little plastic minifig of your character. And you can read like the back of the player card. It has like the background story of your character and yada yada. So it's really cool. So the way that they basically make the game is the cards have 2 basic, a top half and a bottom half, which are actions. Each turn you're going to choose 2 of those cards, and you're going to do the top action on one card, the bottom action of the other card. And each of the cards has a number, which is your initiative, and that's like whoever has the lowest initiative, they go first, and then basically all the monsters you deal with have a set initiative. Everybody has a set initiative. You figure out, okay, I'm going first, then the monsters, then you, then you. So like it's pretty cool. And then at the end of that turn, those cards go into like a discard pile. After you play through kind of like your cards in your hand, you kind of have a phase where you say, okay, I'm going to rest. You take your discard pile, You shuffle it up and you randomly choose one that permanently gets removed, and then the rest go into your hand. And then you keep doing that. Now, that's a quick rest. They have a long rest, which means you're out for a turn. But when you pick up those cards, you choose which card you discard out permanently. So it's kind of neat. So eventually, you may get to a point where you don't have any cards to play and you're out of the round. You're basically, your person becomes exhausted and you're out. And that's kind of like the neat thing of the game is based on the class that you play and how many cards you have in your hand is how long you're pretty much going to be in that scenario for. It's like I've heard apparently there's characters that you don't have a ton of cards, but you move a lot and your attacks, you can attack multiple opponents and you can like poison people and do that. So like your job is go in, hit as many people as you can, run out, and rinse and repeat until you're basically exhausted. And at that point, you should have gotten far enough along that, all right, like we're done. Like we've made it this far. Really, really cool because you have a modular map that you build out. And then as you go playing through the game, you'll discover other side missions that you can go on, which is kind of neat. So like the first playthrough that my wife and I did, like, in the treasure chest that she opened up was a random like side quest. You draw a card and it's like this, or no, it wasn't a random one. Like it was a specific one. And it gives you like a little flavor text. It's like, oh, you find blah, 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 blah. And then this is the only, if I can say, it's the only kind of thing that I'm like, they didn't really need to do it, but it's a nice little visual type of a thing. The game does have a board, but the board is like a world map. And as you go doing your missions, there's stickers that you permanently put on the board that shows the path that you're going along your campaign. And then as you go unlocking these like kind of like side missions, is these stickers pop up on the board as well, which is kind of cool. The other neat element to the game that's kind of cool is it's called Gloomhaven. That is the name of the town that you start off in before you head out onto your campaign. So you actually, before you head out, like any experience or any gold that you found, you can actually spend it at shops to beef up your characters. But you also have like Gloomhaven city events that happen, which are random things that happen. And then you also, on your way to your mission, a random event happens as well, and you have to decide. And it's kind of neat because it'll just like be like, oh, like XYZ happens. Like you could choose option A, option B. And then you vote as a group, like, what do we do? And then you read what are the consequences of option A or option B. So it could be like, oh, look, we found extra money, or oh, look, like we have to pay money, like whatever it may be. Kind of same thing with you're on your way to your quest, like something may happen on the way there that will either be a benefit to you or a hindrance to you. So first playthrough, like I like the game. I want to play more of it just to see how much, because it was cool, but it was at the same time like, all right, like I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it yet. My wife was like, it didn't really strike a chord with me, but she's like, I'm willing to, like, I want to try it some more, like at least a couple more plays just to see if it does start getting better or if her feelings don't switch.
Is it easy to pick up, or is it like hard to get into if you're not, versed in board games?
So it's pretty easy to pick up. It just has like a bunch of little kind of rules that I kind of question. So one of the things is every time, so your attacking is done based on the cards. So your card will say like, oh, this move doesn't attack, which does this much damage. And essentially the monster cards are going to have like, this is how much health they have, and this is how much you have to attack minimum to do damage to it. So anytime you successfully do damage, like it hits one hit for like you basically put a mark for each hit over this value of the blocking. Now, one of the kind of weird things about it is that you have a little deck of modifier cards, which will either give you a +0, a +1, +2, critical hit, you completely miss, or -1, and I think there's a -2. So you essentially shuffle it, and then, oh, I'm going to attack them. You have to draw one of these cards and see what your modifier is. The only weird thing about that is, like, I almost feel like they could have probably done that with a die.
Yeah.
And saved those cards, but I mean, it's a little quabble. It's like it's essentially the same thing. Like,
is it one of each? Like the cards, like let's say the -2. Like how does that work? How many you have in each pile?
yeah, so it's different based on which ones. Like a lot of them are like mostly like the zeros and the +1 and -1.
Oh, okay.
Like the +2, -2, like it's like 1. Same thing with like the critical hit and the like completely miss. Kind of same thing. There's like 1 in this deck of cards. So it's like, it's interesting. Like it's piqued enough of my interest and all that where like, okay, like I like this. I want to keep doing the campaign just to see where this goes. And either way, like the way that I looked at it and like when I spoke with my wife, like either way, if we completely hate the game, I could always resell it. I'll get my money back on it, and even more so because I have the organizer in it. So it's a really, really cool thing.